So I'm going to call this Board of Equalization special meeting to order. It's Tuesday, March 26, 9:30. Notice of the meeting was illegally posted. We're going to start out with roll call. I'm Eleanor Thompson, Chair. Brent Town, Vice Chair.
Present.
And Ms. Teresa Sellers.
Present.
All right, so we've got 12 today, all the same guy. We're going to do this by phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to give him a call.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hayes. How we doing?
Oh, I'm much better now because I'm better prepared. I'm so excited.
Okay, so all three of us are here, Ms. Sellers, Mr. Town, and myself. So you've got all 12, but we're going to take them one at a time. And you were here yesterday, so you know our procedure. We're going to go through yours, and then we'll make our decision on Friday. And you will get, I guess, this massive letter of our decisions of all of your properties. How about that? Okay, so I'm getting ready to, I'm trying to silence my phone. We're going to start with item 1 on our agenda is BOE number 103. The residential number is 194 64 40 70. Street address 2841 South Indian Meridian, Choctaw, Oklahoma. Are you ready on that one?
Yes, ma'am. I have the evidence on all but one of them. I will talk to Kyra about it. Is Kyra on today?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Kyra I had 11 out of 12. I was very excited. So I got to the last one. Okay. So, good morning, everyone.
Okay, now my notes indicate that the assessor has this one valued at $303,500, and you have it at $285,600, and I have a sale February of 22 for $291,000. Are we agreeing on those?
That's correct.
All right.
Okay. Once again, please note that I don't agree with the value thing. That's just a generic thing by what I call the spirit data that I explained to you guys yesterday.
Okay.
On this particular property, looking at the comps, I only have one concept of a different variation. Looking at you guys' comps, you did provide 3 sales. Noticing that the land discrepancy is a little different from the first to last. Number 1 and 2 sales are land the same. That's why the value is a lot higher. If you look at number 3, the land square footage is almost double the subject value. And notice that it sold for $270,000. Its effective year is 39. So I looked at several things. I understood the topic between the 278 and 340. What I wanted to lean beyond the concept of the effective age in comparison, even though the one with the largest land value is 39, and we have 32. So I'd like a little consideration, because if you really think about this, there are really no true comps. So what I would ask, if I'm allowed to ask, I should have started off with that. There will be times that I would ask a question, what was last year's value? Because last year's value played a huge part sometimes in the concept of revaluation on the year's profit. So am I allowed to ask what was last year's value?
Yes. Yes.
Get that, please.
But okay, so are you going to finish and then let me do the assessor, or you want them to answer that now?
I want them to answer that. Right?
Okay.
The 2023 value was $273,000.
Okay. So with that being said, 273 times.
Are you trying to give a percentage increase?
Yes, ma'am. So with the fact that there are no really true comps with the size, looking at the number 1, so for 336, it is 433 square foot larger. The one that's closer is the 38. It is in fair condition. It sold for 340. It is 2.96. So I really don't think we have a true concept of 3 comps. We only have 1, so I asked for a small percentage. So I came in at 294,000. So I'm pretty much over your value, correct?
No, there's just, you're looking at the taxable again. Their value is 303,500.
Yeah, I'm over the value. So yeah, I'll be at 294 on this one.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, we'll hear from the assessor.
Okay. The property at 2841 South Indian Meridian Road, the square footage is 1,960 square feet. The major streets here are Southeast 29th and South Indian Meridian Road. The price per square foot is $154.85. I'm glad he mentioned the comps. What I ended up doing is I reran some comparables because I noticed that we did have to go a little bit farther out to find comparables. So I looked at theirs again. I was able to add 4 of the comps that they provided, and that was comp 6, 8, 9, and 10 of their comparables, and I added 2 more of our own. And I came up with a median of 300,757, which the original comp report we ran, that was a 3 comp report, had a median value of $309,989. So again, the one I ran by myself that you guys would not have had the median value of 300,757. So slightly lower than what he's at, but higher than what he's asking, and that was using their comps.
I'd like to meet in the middle at 297. I think that's fair. I'm at 294. He's at 300. I'd like to meet at 297.
I have a median of 300,000. So.
Come on, Kyle.
Okay.
Is that pretty much your standard that you won't go below your median?
Correct.
Yeah, I understand. Can y'all stand by somebody snatching something from my front?
Can I ask,
He said he's gonna snatch something from his front yard, or somebody's snatching something from his front yard.
Go ahead. Sorry.
so the last year's value was 273, and based off of that spreadsheet, we have a percent increase. If I did the math correctly, then the adjusted value would be 291. So do you typically give preference to the comp value rather than the percent increase average?
Well, that's just the average of the entire county. I mean, there's some areas that are going to be higher,
Higher than
and then
others.
and then some are lower.
Because this would be a 10% increase.
Yeah.
And then and kind of like what
the
you
300 comes under 10.
I was doing 303.
Yeah, right. So now they're saying their median now is. Are you lowering your value to 300,757?
I'll go to that, the median. Yeah, that 300,757. And I mean that's using 4 of their comps. I think that's pretty generous.
Okay, so Mr. Hayes, he used your comps and came up with that median. Have you dispute those?
It's mainly, it's not about the concept of him using my comps because he provided comps also. So that, like I told you all yesterday, I look at your value. So you go by your concepts, and like I said, I didn't even look at my comps because I know you really don't like to look at my comps. So I appreciate him looking at the comps because you guys have no real comps. So
Okay, now why do you say they don't have any real comps?
well, their comps provided, but they're not good comps to either lower or to help with the true value of the property.
Okay, I believe the assessor agreed with you on that one in this particular case,
And then
which
took
is
your
the
comps.
reason why he used your comps, and then I think you said 2 new comps, correct?
So 2 comps that were originally used, and then 4 of their comps
Yes.
because they were actually closer than what we originally had.
And you said it was 6, 8, 9, and 10 of his comps that you used.
That's correct.
And which of the two of yours did you use?
Those were 2066 Lakeview Drive. Oh, sorry, that's his. Hang on.
You could tell me if it was comp 1, 2,
One,
and
two,
3.
three.
Oh, it's comp 1 of ours
Yes.
and the comp 2 of ours.
1 and 2.
Yep, 1 and 2 of ours, and then his comp 6, 8, 9, and 10.
And comp 2 is the one that I believe he was mentioning had quite a bit of land square feet, but I'm assuming you made the proper adjustment as a result.
That is correct.
So you added, what was the percentage that you added on that one?
It was actually a negative adjustment of a negative 11.28%.
For that square footage difference, Mr. Hayes. Did you understand that?
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. Every time you go 10% from land, that you're stretching. And look at the miles. Look how far they had to go. They went 2 miles. And yesterday we talked about that. If you're going over 2 miles, that's not a comp.
Well, no, we talked about if you go out of the county. If you have a neighborhood where there are no sales, you have to go further. Do you agree with that concept, or you just say there are no comps?
You can use neighborhood sales. We call that reaching. We're talking about raising values. That's reaching. I mean, we can do that for a lot of. We can pick and choose when you have no sales. You can do that for any property to raise the value. But is that really the comparable value? No. When you're going 2 miles, maybe a mile, not over 2 miles.
No, here's my question. If there are no sales in the neighborhood, you necessarily then have to go further away and then make the adjustments. Are you?
When you're reaching to raise the value, yes. But if there are no sales in a nice sized neighborhood, that means there's no reason to raise the value. That's the whole concept of comparable. If you have no true comparable, there's no reason. You raise the value based off the number of sales in the neighborhood. When you go outside the neighborhood, what you're doing, you're reaching, you're trying to raise the value of that particular property.
You say there's, hold up. You're saying there is an instance where there is no such thing as a comp. That's what you're saying, right?
If you too far, what do you do? Your comps by size, distance, age, things like that. If you're reaching out of that area just to find it comp from distance, that's a problem from the beginning. Yesterday, most of his properties were less than a half a mile. Today, on the first property, you're going 2 miles away to find a comp.
Yeah.
That's not what we did.
But you're not answering my question, but I think you have. You say there can be an instance where there are no comps. That's your position.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
They're not going to move off of 300,757, and you're at 294. So if that's where we are, we can close.
Yeah, I will say that most of his comps were more than 1.5 miles away as well. So we'll take that into consideration.
This is just a unique area with
That's my point.
rural acreages.
Okay. All right, I'm going to close the hearing on BOE number 103, and we're going to proceed to BOE. Second item on the agenda, 104. The street address is 492 Sunny Court in Oklahoma City, residential number 20, 33, 211, 40. And the assessor has it at 199, and you have it at 172, which is below your November of 21 sale price of 174.
His is 172.5.
172.5, which is below your purchase price of 174,000 in 2021. Okay, what you got for us on this one?
Okay, ma'am. Looking at the comps that they provided, the frequent comps, noticing that we have one comp. Even though it was sold at the beginning of the year, it's adjusted to 210. I don't know how, because it's 5 square foot smaller than the subject property. It is in fair condition, expected age the same, land the same. Everything's pretty much the same besides the open porch. OPS 555, there was OPS 60. Looking at the concept that the property sold for 180, and it's a little, I'm kind of, when it comes to tax preparation, I'm kind of, and please hear me out on this. It's the person that purchased this property, the first comp, 49.16 cents. It is 0.01. So we're in a cookie cutter neighborhood. So it probably looks the same. I don't have a picture of both. I have a picture of one for you guys. The concept I'm saying is that particular person, the other two properties, the .09, .09, they paid 180. Somehow it adjusts $30,000, I guess, because of time adjustment. But what will the person at 4916 Sunny Court, Oklahoma City, pay their property tax on based on what they sold? If you have a property that has not been purchased recently, that was purchased for 174 the year before, and the other person purchased the property early in the year, they're going to pay 180. As a property owner, I want that same price, so I asked 180. And if you look at the other two sales, they're 161, 161. They adjusted even higher. I mean, lower than the original, but they're 186 and 189. So I like 180 the purchase price for a property that's pretty much a microcosm of the subject.
Okay, we hear from the assessor.
4920 Sunny Court. You got your major streets here of South Sunny Lane Road and Southeast 44th Street. The square footage is 1,480 square feet, which gives you a price per square foot of $134.46. We were not provided any comparables on this property from the taxpayer, or I should say the rep for Ryan. The 3-comp report that we ran has a median value of $198,346. And it was already stated, but the value that was protested was the taxable value and not the market value. The average age of the comps is 19 years old, and the subject age is also 19 years old. And that is all I have on this one.
So can you speak to his argument about the reason for the adjustments that were made let's start with comp 1.
Yeah, so on that one, what he's talking about is these were in 2022, because we could not find any 23 sales, and we wanted to stick with the neighborhood. We went to 22, and there is a time adjustment based on what those trends would have been if that house would have sold in 23. That is where we get the new adjusted sale price on those, based on the trend that we saw in Oklahoma County and in this neighborhood. So that is why you see that increase there, and what we believe that what the market was telling us then that property would have sold for in 2023.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now you just made my point. There was no reason really to raise the value from 174. I gave it 180 because it is a microcosm of the same property, same size. I think, what's your name, Miss Eleanor? I'm sorry, I was going to last. I had the first name written down. That's my point. If you have no sales, why are you raising the value? You're going to say, what if? No, we go off the actual fact. If something's sold, it should automatically be able to use to raise the value. We didn't provide any comp. I didn't know about it. I'm looking at you guys' comp. If you look at your comp, that particular property sold for 180. So our property sold also for 174. So I took the one that was recently sold at 180. Same size, everything's exactly the same.
Well, but it was sold at 180 in 2022.
Yeah. And when did we buy the property?
So Mr. Hayes, let me get this straight. So you're saying if there are no sales after you purchase property, if there are no comparable sales within a neighborhood or surrounding neighborhoods, 3 years later that property still should be valued at your original purchase price? There's no increase?
Are very close to it, because what are we doing? We're basing the value on the market. The market dictates what? The value. The value is dictated what? By the sales. If there are no sales, why are you raising the value?
Okay.
It is what it is. That's the whole concept of appraisal standards. If there's no reason to raise the value, then you don't raise it. There's no reason to lower value, then you don't lower it. You have to have purpose. It's the burden of proof. That's appraisal 101. I'm sorry. That's just what I believe. On the standard of appraisal. We are dealing with the concept of value here. That's what the use tax governs. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Just my 20 years of dealing with this, it's about the numbers. And they don't lie. If you don't have sales, how do you raise the value? You can go out and find anything to raise. You can choose a house next door to raise the value of any property, but they have to be comparable. If there are no comparable sales, how do you raise a lower value? You can say, well, the market is, the market is created by the sales in the neighborhood. That's the driving factor of a value. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, I just have, you know, we're talking 22 years and 1 month. In 2 years and 1 month, you're saying you don't even have a 10% raise in the value of the property because you say there was a sale here, right?
What sale do you show?
Not only that, he's showing that it's worth less than what they paid for it, because he's asking for 172.5, and he bought it for 174.
I'm asking for 180. I asked for
And he said
180. I
he
don't
now
know
is
what
bringing
the
it.
person.
Oh, okay. So now 180 is what you're willing to accept, okay?
My number is really 180 since I think that the number on the document is less than what I asked for. So remember, I told you yesterday I go up my value. That's cherry value. I'm going to always be different than cherry value. That's why we're doing these hearings, man. I asked for 180 from the jump. I never changed my value.
Now tell me why you went to the 180.
If you go back to the comp one,
Yes, come
it
on.
is same exact. So that person's value probably going to be 180. That's what they're going to pay their tax on. So I tell you what.
We cannot get you off of this taxable number, right? You're just gonna harp on that, even though we keep telling you.
I think he's saying the 180 is based off, because Comp 1 sold for 180 in 2022, and there have been no sale of any property within that area. His belief is that there's no reason to raise the value. And so he believes.
That's the definition of appraisal. I mean, I'm sorry, but am I wrong?
Okay, is this, hold up, is this the one where you said you did not have a picture of either house, or was that the last one?
No, a picture of the house. I didn't look at a picture of the actual subject house. I have you guys' evidence in front of me, but I'm not using my evidence because my evidence is not very good. I know. That's why I wanted you guys to.
But so you have no reason. You're going to make them identical. You're going to make them identical in what condition they're in.
We don't know what condition they're in.
What amenities there are.
An appraiser who evaluates, they don't go in the house, man.
Oh yes. So well, once every 4 years there has to be a physical. But let me just ask you this: if the house next door. No, if our subject house, it's hypothetical, if our subject house had a gazebo and a swimming pool, otherwise they're identical in size, would you still be trying to say 180 is all there could be?
Man, you're speaking hypothetical, of course not. That's called extra features, man.
Okay, so but your theory was sales price.
Man, stated that they all have the same. They don't have any extra fees. They're not showing anything extra. I'm looking at the breakdown. I'm looking at the no pool, the no cabana.
What if they had a marble fireplace? What if they had a marble floors in their den? That wouldn't show up on here, would it?
I'm glad you said that because in the hearings to come, I will bring that up. So yeah, but we don't know that. Do they have pictures?
Okay. No,
That's all I'm saying. You don't get to go inside each one of these properties every 4 years. You evaluate them. So you're telling me that your appraisers walk inside these houses? Because I worked as an appraiser. We wasn't allowed to go into these houses. So you remember, you're doing it from a mass process. So you're not going in every single house. You're looking at it outside. You're checking to see if it has any upgrades. And you're adjusting from there. You don't really know. That's why people come in and do an actual hearing to show you, hey, you got my house upgraded like this, like that, like this. It needs to be adjusted. Remember, I've worked in an appraisal district, so I know how that works.
Okay.
And your belief that if you tried to sell that house today, that you would only sell it for $180,000?
If the other one sold a couple years ago for $180,000, why wouldn't you match that? The neighborhoods, we call them slow moving neighborhoods. Everything don't sell as fast. Remember, real estate is about location. And man, I don't know about you guys' local real estate, but that might be a slow moving neighborhood. There are neighborhoods that sell faster than others when it comes to value. Location, scenery, amenities, all that
Can
plays
you,
factor
can you
into
show us
it.
what this, is this actually a neighborhood or is it rural?
No, it's a
This
different.
is an agreement.
It's a neighborhood cookie cutter
Hold
neighborhood.
up, hold up. She's asking a question and he's showing her pictures. So, right here, that's the subject.
I'm gonna go back to that one. Let me go back to that really quick. Let me for me. See if I missed something. I don't think I missed anything. Let's see here.
Is that a park?
Okay, that's a standard house.
What's that big box, gray box below it?
Probably storage units.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So, can I also notice that I didn't even bring up the other properties, the April 6th, all those were 22. Notice that they're a little bit smaller, but they sold even less at 189.
Oh, probably the rest of those are owned by Anastasia.
Right.
That's the reason why.
Right.
Say that again, ma'am. I didn't hear you.
Oh,
So we have another, appeal, that owns a lot of properties in that area, so, or close to. I was making the joke.
Oh, like
Okay,
I said,
so
yeah.
you're, hold up, we're gonna close this out. You're at 180 and the assessor's at 198. Is the assessor moving it all off the 198, 346?
No.
Okay.
Because
Well, that was your comp, so but your value is 199, but the 3 comp median was 198, 346.
right, which would
Okay.
pretty much support our value.
Okay,
Can I just ask a question that's
Sure.
it's unrelated to his particular dispute, but a little bit of problem I'm having with the math when I'm running your numbers, and I've seen this now 2 or 3 times. When you say your median, what I see, the 198, 346 is what I show comp 3 value was, adjusted value was, and I show the median at 202, 438. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong.
So that's the
So,
mean.
mean.
Mean is 202, 438.
Okay,
Median is the 198, 346.
very good.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Can I say something before you got going?
Sure.
If you notice, I focused on the largest property, which is the same size, because their land is exactly the same.
Yes.
If you look at the other two, the land is a little bit larger, right? They're 1 year older, but look at their sale price, 161 and 165. That shows you the trend. So I look for trends also. So my particular property is 121 square feet more than the other, 149 square feet than the other, and it's 14,000. It sold 14,000 higher. That's all I'm saying. The numbers are there. They put the evidence up. That's why I use most cash evidence, because I know what they're going by, and I just break it down. Pretty easy.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna close the hearing on BOE number 104 and open the hearing on BOE 105, which is item 3 on our agenda. The street address is 4924 Sunny Court. Residential number 203 32 11 50. The assessor has it at 199,500. You're asking Mr. Hayes, 172,400. This property sold in September of 21, so that's 2 years and 3 months, for 164,420. So what do you want to tell us about this one?
First of all, I'd like to start off by asking last year's value.
By asking what?
For last year's value.
Last year's value.
2023 value was 173,500.
Okay. So on this particular property, there were only 6 total. Let's go to the second page. Let's notice something here. All these sales are in 22. So the market is driven by recent sales. You're stopping the date as of 12/31/23.
Yes.
Going off sale. With all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, notice there's only one sale. That's 2023. And it is 218 square foot, larger than Southern property, 3 years newer, and his land is double the size. So you have 218 square foot larger.
Which sale are you referencing? Which comp?
Number one. Number one,
Okay.
okay? It is, the land is double the size. 200, when it's still in the 500 threshold, which we try to do within 2,000 square foot. But it is the only sale. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, yesterday we harped on sales and distance. Okay? So today, I would hope that we keep that same energy with all due respect so we can actually have decent hearings, because today I'm seeming argumentative, but now I'm using your own evidence to get a value, which is out of nothing but respect because you have all the evidence. That's what I try to do. But number one is the only comp. That's what sold last year. Or purchased last year. The rest of the comp, maybe number two. Like I said, I'd like to go a year back, but look at number two. 149 square foot, no, 151 square foot, smaller than the subject property. So for 165.8 miles away, it adjusts to 176.
Not two.
Excuse me?
Not comp number two. Which one are you talking about now?
Comp number three.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I'm not understanding the adjustments, because if I look at comp number two, it must be adjusted for what? Purchase. Because it's sold February 16th of 22. And look what it adjusted. It adjusted 30,500. I don't think that's fair in a neighborhood that's a slow moving neighborhood. We're talking about the same everything. 2 square foot off, quality of grade fair, effective year, square foot the same, everything's the same. So once again, I don't see why I shouldn't ask for that same value with a slight adjustment. I'm sorry, baby.
So what do you ask? So you are not asking 172 for, what are you asking?
I'm asking for 184. With a slight adjustment due to the fact that it was sold, like you say, 2 years and 1 month. So I understand.
And how did you arrive at that figure?
I gave a percentage markup for the adjustment at the sale price, 180, a small markup.
And that was a comp two?
Of course, what we're saying is that it shouldn't be the value of 180. But if it's 2 square foot difference, meaning it's pretty much the same house, see the adjustment 0.06, that's the same. 2 square feet, that's probably just a measure form. If you understand where I'm coming from. Everything's pretty much the same. The only difference is the WDR 27 WDR. I have no idea what that is.
Well, do you have a philosophical bar to making adjustments if there's a house that you think is identical? You're saying as long as you can find a house that is close by that's identical, you do not use any other house and make an adjustment to it. Is that your argument?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. What I'm saying is when you put a property to be addressed or a value,
Yes.
you find the best comp. If there are no true comps by square footage, age, and all that, they're too far off, it's not a true comp. You can comp any property. Example, I live in a house that's 63 years old. My neighbor just built a house next to me that's 2 years old. You can comp out properties by square feet, but you can't comp it by your building. You can't comp it by a lot of things. But you can comp it because they're right next to each other. But that doesn't mean you can comp it, because once you look at the age of his house and the age of my house, that changes everything.
But then why wouldn't you use comp one, which was sold in 2023, because that would be a true comp?
That's it. I just stated that's the only true comp. But it's only one comp. One comp doesn't drive the market. You can weigh heavily on it. But here's the problem. The land is double, so it's not a real comp.
You're saying you cannot make an adjustment.
You can adjust, but that's only one comp, man.
No,
Okay,
but
really,
can you or can you not make an adjustment for the land? Yes or no?
It's better to raise a bet for one comp that land is different.
You don't give me any ifs. Just I want to know, can you make an adjustment on land? Can you? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But does it make it a true comp in a cookie cutter neighborhood? No. That's all I'm saying, because you got two others, 4092, 4004. You go down to number The other ones you got 44, 88, 47, 52, 48, 40. That's the
Okay,
only one.
I have one final question for you on this one. Are you saying that the assessor somehow yesterday said they do not use comps beyond 23?
Yesterday I was told that they like to use comps in 23. I know I heard that.
Yeah, if there's comps available, if there are 2023 comps available, they will use 2023 comps.
Okay, so why do we do January 1st of 23 to December 31st of 23? That's why we do that. So when you go back to another year.
If there are none available, then they will go back further. That's what he said yesterday.
And purpose to what? Raise the value. And that's what the use path is. You're supposed to use a calendar year. When you go back, that's why I use the word reaching. We can reach to lower the value. I try to say in common sense concept. But
okay, are you accusing the assessor of necessarily beginning his job with raising value? That seems to be what you're saying, that their whole purpose is to raise value. Is that your position?
ma'am, my purpose is to find the correct value. My opinion of value. That's all I'm getting. My opinion of value based off the sales they're presented. We're supposed to go off. We were told we're supposed to go off the calendar year 23.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, are you saying that the assessor begins his job with wanting to raise the value? Is that your position?
I'm going to say this. If you use 2022, and I've been told that you should be using the 23, then they must be. I'm just being honest. If you have to reach back to a calendar year, that I was told we were using 23. I've seen more 2022 sales than anything. That means last year the market wasn't moving in that area.
Okay.
Now you can go back and find, and you can adjust it for time, but always remember this: time adjustment varies per year, right? Based on sales. If you have no sales that year, or the sales are minimal, you use the minimal sales. You have that one sale. So that's why I use the word reaching. I'm not accusing him. I'm telling him that's reaching. Me being a former employee of an appraisal district, that's called reaching. That's why we use the sales of the previous year. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but my appraisal background tells me that when you're using a year, when you go back to the other year, that's called reaching. That's the definition that we normally use in appraisal thing. You're reaching. You can reach to lower. You can reach to raise.
Okay.
But if we're talking about a calendar year of 2023 and you're going back to February and March and April of 2022, to me, that's the definition of reaching.
So, Mr. Hayes, I would just like to clarify, and I've stated this already, but because you're basing this whole argument on a misunderstanding of what the assessor stated yesterday. He did not state that he will only use 2023 comps. He stated he uses 2023 comps when they're available. If they are not available, then he will go to older comps. So if you're basing that entire argument off of an assumption or a misunderstanding from what he said yesterday, then you're incorrect.
I was told yesterday that I couldn't use 22 or 24.
No, you weren't told that you could not use them. You were told that you could not use 24. That's true. You cannot use 24, but you were not told that you cannot use 2022.
So I can't use the new one. I can't use the old one. Okay, that's really not making sense. So you don't think we should use early in the calendar year of 24 because that's what the market's saying now, but we can use older ones to raise the value.
You know, we need to.
So you can use old data, 2-year-old data to raise the value, but you can't use the newer data to lower the value. Now, somebody make sense of that. I'm sorry.
There's no, you're trying to make a hard and fast rule. And what we're saying is, on a case-by-case basis, if in that year there were no 23 sales, then you go back to 22. They didn't say you never get beyond 23. That wasn't stated. But for big
purpose, 24, man.
No, that is a hard and fast rule. We cannot use 2024 sales.
But that's a form of indicator of what the market is leading.
But we're only evaluating
what the 2020.
Yeah, we're only valuing the 2023 value. We're not valuing the 2024 value. We're only valuing 2023. which is why we don't use
It's
24.
okay to go farther back, but it's not okay to come a little closer, when that's really what the driving market is indicating.
But we're
but-
only determining the 2023 value. We're not looking at 2024 values, we're only looking at 2023 values, and we have to draw the line.
So you're saying it's okay to use older data instead of newer data that's closer to the end of the year, because remember, we're going off December 31st, 2020.
Okay, we're beating a dead horse here. Let me say this to you. The law is establish the value as of the last day in the previous calendar year. That's what we're establishing. We are not establishing present value the day you come to court. There has to be a cutoff. That is why you do not use comps in the present year. Because the law is, wait a minute, this isn't something we are just making up. The law is establish the value as of 12/31. So next year we're going to be establishing the value as of 12/31/24. That is it.
Okay, so with all due respect, man, from an appraisal standpoint of the year, because you guys do a assessment on a yearly basis, if you're going back to February and March of 22, that's almost 2 years, that's over 2 years now. So is that credible? Think about that. You're allowed to go back, but what the point I made yesterday is sometimes you might have to go into December or November of 22 and maybe January of a lot of districts do that because it's the swing of the market. But to go back 2 years and try to use that to
Okay, can we are on BOE number 105 and we have not heard from the assessor. So we're arguing, debating philosophical. Let us hear what the assessor did in BOE number 105.
The square footage on 4924 Sunny Court is 1,477 square feet. Major streets are going to be South Sunny Lane Road and Southeast 44th Street, with the 2024 value being $199,500. And that would give us a price per square foot of $135.07. We used, we used a 6-comp report that has a median value of $199,869. The average age of the comps is 19 years old. The subject age is also 19 years old. We did use 123 sale and 522 sales just based on the area. There wasn't very many that were comparable in 23, so we did go back a year in 22. If we wanted to, we could go all the way back to 21, but we don't because we just didn't need to. We have the sales.
When you say that, what's the basis of that? Is that in?
It's a 4 years. We can go back up to 4 years.
Okay.
If we had to find sales.
Is that statutory or is that?
That is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Established.
Yeah. And plus, like, what we use to present, like, our comparables, it only goes back 4 years as well.
Okay.
So we can set that parameter in there when we are searching for comps. We can do it by year, square footage. We can set parameters. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can put in there to find comps. In this case, there wasn't very many 23, as stated. There's only one comp, but we do have all 6 comparables in the neighborhood. They only provided one comp, and it was a half a mile out. And personally, I would not have used that as a good comparable based on the amount of adjustments that would have needed to be made to make it like the subject.
And is the reason you chose to do 6 comps versus 3 because they're all in the neighborhood? Because I noticed yesterday, or I think maybe even earlier, sometimes you only do 3 comps.
That's correct.
It's because of the proximity to the property.
That's correct. Proximity and the having that many sales. If we don't have that many going back, just using 23 or just using 22, we do at least 3. We don't do anything less than 3. We try not to. I mean, that's just, we do 3 or 6. No more, no less.
There's some concepts in sampling. If you only have one, one is not a good sample to put in there. But when you get 3, you can average and you can mean and median of those. it does provide you more data points to make a fair market value.
Okay, any response to that, Mr. Hayes?
No, ma'am, no.
Okay, so, we're gonna close the hearing on BOE number 105, and we're gonna open the hearing. Item 4 on the agenda is BOE number 106. The, physical address 8136 Bigwood Drive, Del City, resident number 20 39 61 680. The assessor has it on for $228,000. The property owner is asking for a valuation of $201,000. It sold in November of 21 for $185,000. So what do you have to offer, Mr. Hayes?
So let me start off by saying that, first of all, I'd like to reiterate the concept that they were all good comps on this one. It was 6. They provided all 6 were sold last year. All were sold less, but 1, well, actually 2 were less than the subject property. Noticing that the subject property is in kind of layman's term number 4. It is the oldest of all the properties comparison, but it has one of the largest concepts of land at 9518. So with that being said, the closest value is the way I look at it when it comes to land is number 4. It's a little bit larger, 131 square feet. It sold for 250. It adjusted to 252. So I agree with that value, 228. I think that's a fair value when you look at all the other sales with the extra land that my client has in that property. So I think 228 is fair.
Okay, there being no disagreement, I'm going to close the hearing on 106 and open the hearing on 107. Street address 4305 Southeast 87th Street, Oklahoma City, resident number 20 410 1240. The assessor has it on for $201,500. The property owner is asking for valuation of $115,700. It sold February of 22 for $157,500. So we're way below the purchase price. What do you say to this one, Mr. Hayes?
What was the purchase price again?
$157,500 in February of 22.
And we asked for
$115,700.
$115,700. You said that's 1240, correct?
Yes.
Stress.
I was going in. So, in this particular property, trying to make sure I'm on the right one for that.
4305 Southeast 87.
Okay. So on this particular property, you guys had it 201,500, correct?
Yes.
Looking at the 3 sales you provided, all sales were last year. Noticing that my client's property is 2/3 size in land, closer to any property. It is the second largest. The smaller one is number 1. It's sold for 212. They're adjusted. All these properties with land much larger. Mine is 6384. We have 9438, 10275, and 9401. You guys did adjustments. I came in at 192 on this one. My client's property is the smallest, so it's kind of an outlier due to that. So the 3 that they chose, noticing that the largest 9501 sold for 200,000 back in January. So I guess with time adjustment somehow being larger than the southern property still adjusted almost 13,000, which didn't kind of make any sense. So I thought 137, 36 should be, my client's property should be less by the square footage because of the land size.
Which comp are you referencing?
Number 3.
And it's sold for how much?
It's sold for 200,000.
And is that the one you're using to get to the 192?
Yeah, and if you look at it a 501 in the size.
They did it, this is,
Minus 245. Here's my problem with the land adjustment. Even in a cookie cutter neighborhood, when you have a property that's 1/3 less than each other property, you should do a real land adjustment. They only took off minus 0.45. I think that should be a little bit higher. Because although all three of those properties land is at least 33% more. So I would like that to be considered. The 1390 sold for 206. Its land is even larger than the 9501. Okay, so I would ask for a land reduction on this, and I thought the 192 was suffice. It is 1/3 the land size of the country. Land does mean something, even in a cookie cutter neighborhood, because that's what real estate is all about: land, locations, and land size.
Okay, so I'm sorry, was that comp 3 you said, or comp 4 that you're referencing?
All three of the comp lands, all three
all three of the comps lands is what?
are larger.
Then the subject property?
Yes.
Now, the subject property land square feet is 95, we're on 106, right? No, we're on 107, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, all three. Notice that all three are land size, so I'd like to adjust. I'd like the law. I don't think the 2.92, 2.45, 2.45 is indicative of what the land adjustment really is. By them being, I think you had 1 or 2, but all three of them are the same. They're all 1/3 least large. I'm at 6384. They're at 9438, 9501, and 10275. That's an indicator that their land value should be less when you use comps. So per square foot per land.
Are you saying they did not make an adjustment, or you think the adjustment was not large enough?
I think the adjustment was not large enough. Due to the fact that all three lanes are larger. That's the comps you're using. If you're going to use all three, do a real land adjustment. Because all three, when you use 1 or 2, then you follow the land adjustment. But if you're going to use all three comps, then you should really do a true land adjustment.
Okay, let's hear from the assessor how the assessor did it.
All right, on 7809 Fry Lane, the major streets here are 240 and South Sunny Lane Road, I should say. The square footage is 1,237 square feet. Oh wait, am I on the wrong one?
You're on the wrong one.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
107.
Yeah, 4308 Southeast 87. How about that?
4305.
4308.
I have 08.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Okay, sorry.
My apologies.
No,
Major streets are Southeast 89th and South Sunny Lane Road. Square footage is 1,370 square feet. The 2024 value is $201,500, which would give you a price per square foot of $147.08. The sale was actually a multiple property sale in February for $2,900,000, and we don't qualify that as a sale. The 3-comp report supports a median value of $209,392, with the average age of those comps being 18 years old and the subject age being 17 years old. And we do make adjustments for that land on all 3 comps. And yeah, I mean, that's really about it on this one.
What was the value that the assessor's office had in 22 and 23?
Okay, 22 was $158,500.
Okay.
The 23 value was $174,000 even.
Thank you.
Oh, I did look at their comps. I did forget to mention this. Out of the first 6 comps, 6 comps that I looked at, only one of them was a valid sale, or a qualified sale, I should say, and it was almost a half a mile away. The other ones were unqualified sales, distressed sales, not in our county, and a 24 sale.
So is that their comp 1 that you found
That's
to
correct.
be valid? The price on it seemed really low to me for a March 2023 sale, though.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but it was validated by our sales team. So,
Okay.
and that's what I have to go off of. And there was I believe there was an MLS listing. Can you go back there? Okay, just go to, did we send a letter? Oh, it wouldn't be on this one.
Yeah.
Never mind. Oh, yeah. R204101310. Yeah. So we validated. There's a 2023 MLS listing for that first comp of theirs.
So that was their comp one,
Yes.
no, comp two.
Comp 2.
It was their comp two that they had for 103,400.
Yes.
That's interesting. Did you run that one against your comp now or no?
I did not. It was farther out than all of ours. All of ours were closer to the subject.
It showed a distance of 0.07, I believe.
I must have
It
wrote
looked
down
like
the
it's
wrong
the
one.
same as your comp one.
I must have wrote down the wrong. I must have looked at the wrong one because I put 0.4 miles away.
Yeah, he's got it down as 0.07, assuming that his comp information is correct.
Okay. Yeah, and it was distance wise on theirs, on all of theirs. I must have just wrote down the wrong one. So yeah, I didn't look at that one, and with our comparables.
Okay, last word, Mr. Hayes on 107.
No, nothing else.
Okay. Do you have anything? Okay.
I do.
All right, I'm going to close 107 and open 108. This is 7809 Fry Lane, resident number 20612136 The assessor has it on for $205,500. The purchase price in November of 21, this was probably part of that other bulk sale, was $168,000, and the property owner is asking for us to set the fair market value at $162,689. Okay, Mr. Hayes, you're on.
Okay, so I don't know. Some people don't agree with this concept, but my years of training, I'm not saying that. Remember, appraising is opinion back. So we're looking at this particular property, seeing that there were 6 comps. Normally, of course, I do an assessment of all, but when you have, if you look at it, you have 2 sales that were pretty much a microcosm of the subject property. Numbers 2 and number 6 on you guys' comp. 1247, 19 years older, the land size is pretty much the same. It sold for 180. It is up to 189. Okay? If you look at number 2, exact same size of subject property, only thing different, there's 1,000 square feet. 6 sold in March. Number 2 sold in July. Notice that the latest sale is in November. It's small, but the land size sold 192. It is just the 193. So what I decided to do, if I'm wrong, but I took the adjusted sale, the 189 to 193, and the 205, and I used the median. I rounded up, I rounded down, and I came to 193.
190 what?
193.
And you took the median of the assessor's comps 1, 2, and 4?
No, 2, 4, and 6.
2, 4, and 6.
Yes. And the reason why I weighed heavily on number 4 is because it was the last sale of the year, and the land size was pretty much the same. but it is 2 years newer and about 70 something, 60 something square, 66, 67 square foot, 70 something square, 81 square foot.
But you wouldn't use that same argument for comps 1, 2, and 3, which are August and July, which are the next newer to comp 5 and 6, or comp 6?
Say that again?
Because comps 1, 2, and 3 are newer than comp 6, you wouldn't use those? You don't use that same argument?
I used 2, man. I didn't use 1 because look at the land size. 4515, 6240. I stayed on the size, the square footage, and the time and sold. The square foot matters, and the time of year sold. Sometimes.
But you'd use the land square footage or the property square footage?
The land. So if you look at number 1, look at the land square footage.
Okay, we understand your argument. I just want to make sure that I understand what your argument, how you came up with the 193. I'll let the assessor go.
Yes. We'll hear from the assessor.
Now we're on 7809 Fry Lane. The major streets are 240 and South Sunny Lane Road. Square footage is 1,237 square feet. The sale that happened in November of 21 is a qualified sale. This wasn't in that batch of multi-property purchases. And that was a purchase of $168,000. The 6 comp report supports a median value of $203,697. All our 2023 sales, all are in the neighborhood. On this particular one, all the sales were a mile away that were provided to us, and so I didn't even run them into our system because we had comps that were closer to the subject. The average age of those comps are 15 years old. The subject age is 16 years old. And then the 2024 value of $205,500 gives us a price per square foot of $166.13.
When you're looking at how far away his comps are you looking at your data or are you looking at his data?
I'm looking at theirs.
Because I show let me make sure I'm on the right one, 108, correct? Mm-hmm. I showed that his were 0.1, 0.23, 0.27. There were a couple of them that were more than a mile away, but 4 of them were not. So I'm trying to understand that discrepancy.
So I looked at the first 6. I didn't look at all 30. So was it one of the first 6?
So comp 1 was 0.11, comp 3 was 0.23.
The only thing I could think of why I did it, actually, I know that first comp. That first comp, it was validated, but ended up there was a fire, and that's why it sold for so less. I know exactly where that one is.
Can we see it? Yeah. On the screen? Yeah. Just so we get an idea, see if there is.
I mean, it doesn't really make that big of a difference other than that discrepancy from what you said, but because when I run his 6 comps, or when I pull the 6 latest comps based using his same argument, and I come out to the same median that you came out to. So it's a moot point in terms of the property value, because I'm even using his adjusted value. But I'm a little bit concerned that you're not seeing the mileage properly on his comps. So I'm going to make sure that because it helps me, honestly, if you're able to use his comps and pull it in, it makes me feel a little better that
so I was thinking of a different property on 79th Terrace. So this one was a valid qualified sale. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know why I didn't use those. Could have been for the simple fact of there was less adjustments, but I can't say that for sure.
Okay.
So he sent you how many comps?
30.
Mr. Hayes, why do you send so many comps? No, that's a legitimate question. Do you expect the assessor to go through all 30 of your comps?
What's your last name again, ma'am?
Thompson?
Ms. Thompson, let me explain to you. I apologize. I called and talked to Chris. That is not what I do, ma'am. I'm a finisher. I'm a ground partner. I just do the hearing. My management didn't monitor the date, so they just used their data set at all. And I explained to them that it embarrasses me and the company from a larger standpoint. That's why I'm just telling you that I don't use our company.
Okay.
So what I,
Please don't charge it to me because that's not what I do. I'm not involved in the data pool. And that's why my old school concepts, I use the same data that the district provides.
Okay.
so as painful as it was, what I did was I just went in and looked at the 6 newest comps.
It's painful.
Can I add something?
And that is painful because
It was painful.
Yeah, my management want me to look at all 30 and most of them have they're not even close to being a comp, so it's basically a waste of time.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The
I
assessor,
apologize.
okay. The assessor wants to respond. Okay.
I have too many pieces of paper in front of me. I actually did run 4 comps of their first 6 in the comparables in our database. So the 4 that I use of theirs were 4532 Southeast 80th.
Can you tell me if they were comp 1, 2, or whatever?
Oh, let's see here. So comp 4, comp 3, comp 1, this, I believe it's the 6th one, 9, comp 9. I used those 4, and then added 2 of ours. And those 2 were 8112 Rosh Lane, and I believe that is, yeah, so comp 1 of ours and comp 2 of ours.
And what was your outcome?
Median was 204,550. I apologize on that.
That makes more sense, thank you.
Okay, so he's at 193 and you're at 204,550. Well, are you at 20? You hold him to your 205.
I would hold it to 205. I mean the median is 204.
Okay.
And, okay. That's with your adjustments, the median, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, any response, Mr. Hayes?
None whatsoever, man.
Okay, I'm gonna close the hearing on 108, and I'm gonna move to item 7 on the agenda, which is BOE number 109. Street address 4808 Millstone Drive, Oklahoma City. Resident number 206 731 650. The assessor asks for a value of $295,000. The property owner is asking for $276,550. There was an October of 21 sale of $275,000. Okay, Mr. Hayes, you're up.
Okay, so I don't like to take a lot of time with certain properties that I'm in agreement, but I also like to show you my method of how I view data. Just give me a minute. Looking at the sales or the divided 6 sales, and they were all good comp. Even though 5 of them were purchased in 22. The way you guys, now I know how you guys operate. Like I said yesterday, I can get it acclimated to your process. Now I may not agree to it, but I still have to acclimate it because you control that concept. Noticing that there's only one sale. That one sale is the same value that we have, $295. Is that correct? I think so. It's in the middle of the year, May 26th. It adjusted to 304. So what I did, I looked at all the others, and I was concerned because they all adjusted a lot higher. But I'm thinking due to time, a lot of them sold. Well, of course, I would agree with that value tonight. I just wanted to bring that out to show that I understand the acceptance concept, but we are doing here, so I have to make sure I look at these properties. And so I'm trying to make sure that my opinion is value considered.
Okay, there being no disagreement, I'm gonna close the hearing on 109 and move to item 8 on our agenda, BOE number 110, street address 2401 Northwest 176th in Edmond, resident number 207 472 050. The assessor is asking for $359,500. The property owner is asking for $349,700. There was a purchase in August of 21 for $335,000. So you guys are only barely $10,000 apart. So what do you say, Mr. Hayes?
Looking at all the sales that the district provided, these sale prices were a little astronomical. They adjusted a lot higher than the subject properties sale price. Adjusted price. I think we're looking at a concept of the land value being higher. What did I say on this one? Looking at the sale price on some of these particular properties,
Yes.
we talked about this earlier, and I said, please note that I would bring this back up. Look at the concept of the number 2 sale.
Okay.
It's pretty close to the same size as 19 square foot, and it's 7 years new. So, to be honest with you, it's probably an outlier. So I would use, that's not in my point.
Are you talking 174.25? Excuse me, are you talking
the land size and square
wait a
footage,
minute, hold up, because mine are reversed here. Are you talking 174.25 Golden Hawk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So for 408, that's an outlier. You can tell sometimes you can tell, just like you can tell an outlier is using a company that sold for less, like you're talking about like the Burn is sold for less, you can also tell that this property is heavily upgraded and it sold for over 400,000. We're at 329. So it's 80,000 more. So I would use that. The same with the 390. If it's not around 350,
What's the name of it?
320, then you know that normally it has upgrades. And the fact that I always ask towns to consider that we can't get in these properties to see all the upgrades. You can't get into the subject property, you can't get into the comparable. But guess what will show? 9 times out of 10, the value of the sale will show what's going on in that property. So if you look at that,
we are not on the same page.
408, that's
Where are you?
top 2. Oh,
Where are you? 408. I don't
it's
see
comp
that
2
at
on
all.
the second page.
Oh,
Those pages are just reversed.
Yeah, they're
talking-
reversed.
2401 Northwest 176th Street.
Yeah.
The second sale, 17425 Golden Hall. The third sale, 174.
oh, I see. Okay.
Those sales are much higher than
Okay.
the going rate sales. So that lets you know
Okay.
with a sale of 390 that didn't adjust,
Okay.
it did 390. The other one, 408 adjusted for 411. Now notice the one at 390 sold at the end of the year of 23. Those two outliers. Okay. The 2756, 200 some square foot larger than the southern property. So I wouldn't use those.
I'm sorry, what was the second one you thought was an outlier?
Number 2 and number 3 by the sale price. Because we don't know what's going on in anything.
So number 3 that sold for 390, you believe is also an outlier based off of the price paid or something else?
Yes, the sale price indicates what's going on in the property.
Okay.
And we're at 359,500 for the value, correct? Market value, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, in taking those two out, I also looked at number 4. It is sale price. It is one of the closest at 0.09. It is actually smaller than the southern property, but it's 3 years newer. The land's smaller, so I included that.
You excluded 4?
I included.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So when I looked at all four properties, number 1, number 4, 5, and 6, number 1 was actually closer to the southern property. Notice that it sold for 355 and adjusted for 356. It is 9 years newer than the southern property, but the land is small. So I stuck with that. I went at 355.
So his new price,
Your
his
new
new value
price.
is 355.
Flat, 355 even?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, let's hear from the assessor.
I'll agree with that.
Okay, we have an agreement at 355. Can I have a motion and we'll set this and knock this one off for Friday?
Yes, referencing item number 8, BOE 110. I move that we set the fair market value of this property at the agreed upon value of $355,000.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so number 8 is off of the Friday agenda. It's been set. All right, we're gonna go to BOE number 111, which is item 9 on our agenda. Street address, 14004 Canterbury Drive, Edmond residential number 208-981-680. The assessor is asking for a fair market value of $370,500. This property sold in October of 21 for $328,800. The property owner is asking for a fair market value setting of $310,850. What do you say, Mr. Hayes?
That's way too low. Let's look at the reality of that. Sorry about that. It's not my price point. Let me go on record by saying that. Looking at the sales, there were only 3 provided. Going back to that concept, there was only 1 sale that was even in that year. The other sale, it was 2 sales in 2020. Sorry, 1 sale wasn't. Fortunate for me, it's the highest sale, and it's just the highest, so I wouldn't use that one. So when I get this type of situation, what I like to do is, you only have 2, right? Both close in size, 21, 23, 21, 27. And the adjusted prices are literally, we say 2,000 apart, 349, 626, 351, 558. I meet in the middle, 350, 500.
350 what?
500.
350. Okay, we'll hear from the assessor.
The square footage is 2,269 square feet. And the major streets here are East Memorial Road and North Bryant Avenue. The 2024 value is $370,500, which gives us a price per square foot of $163.29. The 3 comp report supports a median value of $367,758. With those comps, the average of those comps are 13 years old, and the subject age also being 13 years old. We did take a look at their comps here. The reason we did not use these is because 1, they're a little bit farther out than ours, but 2, the amount of adjustments that would have had to be made is way more than what ours are. And you're talking 20% on 1 comp just to make it like the subject. That's not a good comparable. So really, we just ran that for our benefit and to say we've looked at it. So we're pretty set on our value on this one of the $370,500.
You pull up the aerial.
Yes.
I think this is Oxford Park. It's right across south side of Memorial from Oklahoma Christian. It's sort of.
I'm wondering how they come up with the 37500 and the 3 sales.
Well, wait, Mr. Tone's talking. Sorry.
That's
Mr.
okay.
Town
Mr.
is
Town
speaking.
is-
It's
No,
just a moment,
that's
please.
okay. That's okay. You can go on. I've seen what I've
So I'm sorry, but I thought it was
So I'm going to ask then about his comps. I looked at his comps as well, and comp 14 and 17 were 2024, and comp 23 was 1.88 miles, so I didn't count that one. But it looked to me like perhaps his comps 1, 2, and 10 might have been valid. So I'm interested in your argument or your statement that the adjustments would be more than 20% or up to 20%, so you didn't consider those. So help me understand why, what that,
Yeah.
how you came to that.
Yeah, so the reason for that, to make those properties, the comps that were used to make it like the subject, after those total adjustments are totaled, it would be 15. Like these right here, I have 3. There is one decent one, but the other 2, it takes 16% total adjustments to make it like the subject. On our comps, I don't remember if it shows.
Was it based off of what, square footage or?
Everything. So it takes up all of those adjustments that are on each one. So on the square footage, neighborhood, there's a big adjustment because it's outside.
A different neighborhood?
Yes.
Outside neighborhood?
Yes. Effective age, a subdivision, which kind of comes in the same thing with neighborhood. It's every single adjustment added up. That is made on each comp report. I don't think it shows it on after we print it.
And which is the one that you said was maybe a decent one?
That one is 4101 Northeast 142nd.
And which one is that?
Number 10.
Comp 10,
Yes.
which I believe was one of the
Can I
ones.
interject?
For just a moment. Brett, tell me the difference in that neighborhood and the comp neighborhood.
I would say it's kind of you get out of that neighborhood, it's a step down of older homes, but it's not a huge difference, but there is a lot of difference in age and probably the quality.
Okay.
It's not the neighborhood I originally thought it was, though. That was in error.
Yeah, the big ones here is the effective age and the neighborhood. Those are the big adjustments on this particular one and the subdivision, but kind of goes in the same line with the neighborhood.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm okay here. Did you come up with a median on your 3 comps of 367,758?
That's correct.
But you're sticking to you're asking for 370,500?
That's correct.
Okay. And Mr. Hayes came up to 350,500. Okay. Mr. Hayes, you're up.
Without being argument, I just want to make my point. When we had that conversation about comps, that's
Yes.
my point. Some things are just not a comp, so you call it not a true comp. Because he said the adjustment percentage would have been higher. He's making my point.
Okay.
Sometimes you just
You based your value of 500,000 based off of his comp 1 and comp 2, and you eliminated his comp 3, correct? You did not use any of your own comps?
no man.
Okay.
Because they were too far, or his 1 and 2 are perfect. And notice what they sold for the adjustment.
Okay, so your argument is whether or not we should be using that 2022 comp.
Number 10.
No, the assessor's comp 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna, we're far apart on this one. I'm gonna close the hearing on 111, and I'm gonna go to item 10 on our agenda, which is BOE number 112. The street address 8508 Southwest 43rd in Oklahoma City. Resident number 139, 111, 20. The assessor is asking for establishing a fair market value of $218,000. The landowner is asking for $192,000. It was purchased in September of 21 for $190,950. Okay, you're up, Mr. Hayes.
Fellow, once again, I'm sorry, it's using the appraisal standards that I've been dealing with over the past, 20 years now. Only 3 sales. The gracious thing we have 1 sale that's pretty much a microcosm. It's 2 square feet large, smaller. It is 1 year newer. The land square feet is approximately the same, everything same. And here's the indicator that the value is close. It's 1.5 away. It is a October 30th sale, so it's literally, 32 days before the end of the year. It's sold for $205. If I'm in a cookie cutter neighborhood and my neighbor purchased their house in October 30th at $205, my house is similar to theirs, same square footage, same grade, 1 year newer than mine, I would want that same value. So I just stuck that. I stuck with that at 205. I looked at the 1603, almost 200 square foot larger. It's going to be price per square feet less because it's larger, but look what it sold for in June. It sold for $250. That might be an indicator of what, almost 20% higher, that it's heavily upgraded. That the 235 and 1555 is 137 square foot, 143 square foot, larger than service property sold for 235. But the one indicator, the one great indicator is that one sale. Now, you don't go off one sale, but when you have a sale that's the same size, you have to weigh heavily. Oh, not that you have to, but you should on the appraisal stand. And the fact that it's sold at the latter part of the year.
So what is your present value now that you're asking?
I want the 205.
205, okay.
Square foot sold in the latter part of the year, but the same. The only difference is the effective age is 1 year difference and 2 square feet. That's the same age.
Right. Okay, we're here from the assessor.
The property at 8508 Southwest 43rd Street is located between Southwest 44th Street and South Council Road. The square footage is 1,412 square feet. The property value actually hasn't changed since 2023. It was the same value of 218 for 23 and for the current year of 24. The 3 comp report supports a median value of $231,205.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So $231,205. Those average comps are 6 years old, and the subject age is 8 years old. And I meant to say South County line, not South Council. Apologies. We did take a look at their comps. From my notes here, the first 2 comps were qualified sales. Everything else is a 24 sale. We even had a 2016 sale in there. So again, we looked at them, just the adjustments that were made on those. We have better comps that support that value at the 231,205 median, which would support our 218 that we have.
I have a question.
Sure.
Did you say that the value the year before was 218 also?
Yes, sir.
So, panel, I would like you to note that October sale is a direct indicator of a decrease in value in that area. Should be notified of that.
Okay.
I've seen in some neighborhoods we have 2 different buildings. All the properties are a certain size, be built by one builder, so it makes their value less than that property that's 1603 in the same neighborhood. That's all I wanted to indicate.
Why would there not have been an
that property
increase
sold close to the end of the year?
in the value? Like, because your comps support the
231. Yeah, you're 15,000 under your comp.
Yep. The sales analyst in that neighborhood felt that it needed to stay instead of increase. That's all I have on that, to be honest. I really don't know why it would have stayed from 23 to 24 instead of an increase, like you said.
And that's why I wanted to interject and notice that value went down on the recent sale. And that could be a price point indicator.
Okay.
And let me also say this. Here's from a standpoint of a neighborhood. When we have a neighborhood where all the neighbors know each other and they all have cookie cutter houses, this neighbor is paying $218,000 and this guy just bought his house and he's paying $205. He's going to wonder why. And then they say the market is what? It's going up. That's a decline. Not an increase. That's a decrease.
Let me just say this. People agree on prices for different reasons. I will tell you that there's a house that's $700,000 in my neighborhood. The husband hates the wife and they're going through a divorce.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
And he took much less because he didn't want to give her money. So you can't just say that one sale and neighbors not, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why people take, but it's a willing buyer, willing seller, so I just want to interject that.
That's true, but that's how the market goes. I mean, if you have a neighborhood with 100 properties and you have a certain amount of distressed properties that sold, guess what? That becomes the market too. If you got 20% of that area that's sold, that begins to affect the value of that neighborhood.
Yeah, again, that goes back to my point earlier that the larger our sample size, the more we take all those factors into account. So yeah, that's why I just don't like going on one, either high or low. It's looking at all of them within a time period.
I looked at that one mainly because it's the same size, only 1 year difference, and it
Right.
sold at the end of the year, closer to the end of the year than the other one.
Understood.
That's why.
Yep, gotcha.
Understood.
Okay,
So a quick question though to the assessor, when you looked at his comps, you mentioned that you thought his comp one was valid. I thought perhaps it would not be valid because it was $102,000 valuation, which is much lower. Did you?
I thought you use that tonight.
Yeah, I considered that one an outlier, although I did accept comp two. His comp two, I thought was probably more accurate.
And what did it sell for, man? I don't know.
Well, your adjusted price was $232,500, but it sold in January of '23.
That's so 4313, the comp one. We go back to that. It shows a sale in October for 205.
Oh, for comp one, his comp one?
Yeah, for 4313 Windgate West Road.
About 102,000.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking comp. I was looking at comp two. Okay, so his comp one sold for how much?
It was 205,000,
205.
which is our comp one.
that's where the one is coming from.
And then
It is the latest sale, and it's the same size as the other property, but 1 year older. Well, 1 year newer than the company. I mean, the subject, I'm sorry.
I think his comp 5 and 6 are suspect too.
Yeah, I said comp 5 and 8 are probably not good. I did, you're right, maybe it was 6 and I wrote it down wrong.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
8, so, yeah, but I've got comp 8 duplicated here, 130. Which one sold for 139 and which one is just adjusted to 139.9?
I just have it written down here that comp 5 was a 24 sale, and then the comp 8 sale is actually a 2016 sale.
Comp 5 was a 24?
That's what I have, yes.
Yeah, I had it as June of 2023. His comp 5 sold in June of 2023. Now, his was a little out of order because his comps were 1, 2, 5, and 8, which I thought was interesting. It seems like they must be taking out ones that they don't like.
Yeah, to answer your question, the one in June of 23 was actually an unqualified sale for that 16500.
Comp 5
Uh,
was not good.
correct, and then it actually just resold January of 24. So that's why we just wrote the 24 sale.
Yeah, I think my notes, I had highlighted comp 5 and comp, let's see what that last one was, comp 8 maybe. 139.9, yeah. Comp 8, there was no comp 6.
That's correct.
Okay, we're good? I'm gonna close the hearing on 112. And we're gonna go to item 11 on the agenda, which is BOE number 113, 5341 Lannister Lane, Edmond. Resident number 217-511-080. The assessor has set the value at $326,000. The property owner bought this in November of 21 for $296,990 and is asking for a valuation of $316,650. So you guys are not that far apart on this one. Let me hear from you, Mr. Hayes.
I looked at the square foot comparison on these. All these was within 100 square foot. I love that concept. And that's how I came up with my valuation from an average. Notice that the subject property is 1593. It's like the second mill. You got a 21655 to 11534. Once again, I'm staying with their concept, what they use. I just averaged for the square price, and I thought that the most it should be is I was looking at 321.5 now. So that being said, I like the 316, but at the most 325. I took all 3 days. This is the best we've had all day. We had 3
Wait,
sales.
you're going up to 321.5, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
But I like the 316, don't get me wrong. But when I looked at all 3, this is the first time that we've had, even though number 2, the square foot, a little smaller on the land, which is why the price probably sold, price point is a little bit less. I just took the average square foot of all 3 and multiplied it by the square footage of my client's property, and I came with 321.8, around the 321.5.
Okay, let me hear from the assessor.
The square footage of this property is 1,593 square feet. Your major streets here is North Douglas Boulevard and East Sorghum Mill Road. The price per square feet of the comps is going to be, of our 2024 value is $204.65. This was a qualified sale in November of 21. Our 3 comp report supports a median value of $325,971, which is very close to the 326 that we're at, and that's why we didn't adjust that. Average age of the comps is 3, subject age is 3. These are pretty darn good comps in my opinion. We looked at his that were provided, and the reason we did not use these is 4 of these are 15% or higher in adjustments that would have to be made to make it like the subject.
Okay, you're not that far apart. We're 326 and 321.5. Anybody moving?
Can you repeat your median?
His median was 325,971.
That's correct.
Back in the day, we used to contest the concept. Anytime your median was lower than the actual value, there needs to be a reduction.
Yeah, well,
People don't believe that anymore.
well, you're not, but you're talking about $31. $31.
325,971.
$29. Sorry.
Well, 100.
So we were at 3.
No,
So we were
29.
325,971 versus
970.
326.
971.
It's $29.
29.
He's 321,500.
No, I'm talking the difference between the median and
The
what the
median
assessor's
and-
asking. He was saying that anytime
Oh,
the
median.
median is less than what the
Oh, I
came
see.
down, and I'm going 20. Yeah, I'm talking $29. Yes.
Add something to that.
Sure.
On that,
Algorithm is used for it. That's why you look at it with the human eye. That's when you get it lower. That's why I'm thinking.
Okay.
and my argument to that, and I'll just throw this out there, you're within the minimum of those cells and the maximum.
Yes.
So you're in the middle already, and that's why we wouldn't adjust that.
Okay.
The cells that we have, he's in that range. That's all I got. That's all I have.
Are you going to move, Mr. Hayes?
No, sir. I stand fast where I am.
Okay, we're going to close out the hearing on 113 and move to 114, which is the last item on our agenda. Street address 16 Southwest 65th, Oklahoma City, resident number 109741 330. The assessor is asking for $189,376, and the property owner is at 182 Fourth. We're not that far apart. Let me hear from you, Mr. Hayes.
Ma'am, this is the only property, and I was very unhappy about that. Thank you, Kyron, for actually sending me all the properties. You're gracious. It's very much appreciated. After looking through all the emails, that was the only property that I was not able to locate. I literally pulled my hair out on yesterday trying to find it, but I wasn't going to kick the ball down the road and bother him again. So I really don't have much because that's the only property that I didn't get any information. You guys are on.
Okay, well, let's hear from the assessor and then you can respond to him. How did you arrive at 189, 376?
So the 2024 value is 220,000.
Oh, is that
That's
the
the taxable.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, so it's
No, you're fine.
What is it,
220,000.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, go ahead. What was it in 23?
177,500.
Good.
And that is the same value in 22.
Okay.
This sale was an unqualified sale of August 22. It was multiple properties.
Okay.
The 3-comp report that we ran supports a median value of 231,760. We looked at their comps, and again, I know he stated earlier he didn't send these, but there were commercial properties as comps. There was several other different kinds, but we did use some of the valid. We did use some of the valid ones that were there, and when we ran it again, these comps, the adjustments that have to be made are significant. They're 13% and higher, all the way up to 35%, versus where ours are very minimal, and that's why we stuck with ours and that median value.
So you're under. So you're from 231 down to 220.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to respond to that, Mr. Hayes?
Hold on, say that again. So he was at what?
The median is 231,760. They're asking for 220 even, so he's under his median.
I understand that, man. Like I said, I looked through all my data that was sent to me by my team.
Okay.
I looked at the data that Kyrie provided yesterday, and I did not see that one account. And I didn't want to bother him for that one account. So
Okay.
Nothing on that account. I
Okay.
looked through all 10.
Okay, but do you respond to anything that he just said?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to close the hearing on 114. Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead. Before we adjourn, I want to go back on number 7. Did we agree at 295,000? If there was an agreement, do we?
We take a vote.
Should we close 114?
Yes, we close
Yes.
114.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to go back to which item?
Well, I'm back on
7,
number
109.
7. I thought there was an
109.
agreement.
Yes, it was.
And if there was an agreement, should we vote on it? And get
Okay,
it all?
yes, we can.
Okay, so
I'm going to
everyone's-
reopen BOE number 109, and there was no disagreement from the property owner on the assessor's value of 295. Is there a motion?
I'll
Yes,
make a motion.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion to accept 295,000 on BOE 109 R 206731650.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so item 7 comes off for the agenda for Friday. Okay, so, yes.
I also wrote down, and I could be wrong, was there not an agreement also on number 4? That would be BOE 106. I wrote it down, but I could be wrong.
106?
Yes.
He did not disagree. Mr. Hayes, I'm going to reopen BOE number 106. That was 8136 Bigwood Drive. He was 228 and you were 201 and you did not disagree. Because I did a circle around it, which means you did not disagree. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's new assets.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion having reopened BOE number 106.
I move on item number 4, BOE number 106, that we set the fair market value as agreed upon by all parties at $228,000.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's off of the agenda for Friday. Okay, we're going to see you again tomorrow, Mr. Hayes, okay? We have 12 for tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
All right. Okay, any public comments? Okay, we're going to say goodbye. Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?